It's 5FM's FEMMEnomenal month, and I chose someone FEMMEnomenal.
Thank you, Sue.
Tell them what you think it sounds like.
I have to be honest with you. I'm giggling because FEMMEnomenal sounds like a sanitary pad.
FEMMEnomenal.
So I just hope I'm FEMMEnomenal with wings.
Yes, you normal or maxi.
I'm definitely maxi with wings.
Heavy girl, heavy. But you laugh about sanitary stuff. My favorite memory is when I moved to Joburg 15 years ago. You taught me about tampons.
Did I?
You did. Because I said to her, I don't know how to use this. You even taught me about high heels. You also gave me sex education, Z. You did.
I?
You did. And
Wow,
here
and that's interesting because we both come from conservative backgrounds, but you were probably like the maxi of conservative.
Beyond.
Yes.
Could I tell them how you physically harassed me with your boobs?
Oh wow!
Oh
what a story. Gosh, I don't remember the story. Tell me.
Sun City, because I am super shy. I still am. I still dress in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And Zuraida was
do you
like,
still dress in the bathroom?
I still do.
Has Lee never seen you
so
naked?
Lee bust me in the bathroom the one day. Like,
naked?
No, that's even worse. So I locked the door, and he goes, "What are you doing in there?" I'm like, "I'm in the shower." And he said to me, "Are you dressed?" I'm like, "I'm getting into the shower." Open the door. I'm like, "What for? There's another bathroom." I had to open the door, and he goes, he sat at the edge of the bathtub, and he goes, "Now dress." I'm like, I can't do. He said to me, "Sureshnie Rider, I am your husband. You are now going to undress and get in the shower." I'm like, this is not cool, not happening.
That is crazy, Sureshnie.
But
15 years later, your husband has still not seen you naked. And they have a baby. I don't know how that happened.
We hugged, and then the stork arrived, and the baby arrived. But you, in Sun City, I'll never forget Nicole Fox back in the day.
Another FEMMEnomenal
you
woman.
Opened up your gown and go, "Look at my boobs," and you then proceeded to rub your whole body. Wow, I'll never forget. And you go, "Sush, you need to get over this embarrassment."
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I do recall when I think back to you joining 5FM. I remember flashing you quite a bit.
You did.
I'd be like one of those
and it
dirty
helps.
old men with a coat on, and I'd be like, "Sue."
But you helped me. I've always held it that you helped me become this woman that I am today. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I don't know how much I helped you if you're still not willing to go naked in front of your husband, but
yeah, okay, I can't.
But there's progress.
Yes, and I think I've learned a lot from you as a FEMMEnomenal woman.
Thank you.
And I keep the little memories to my heart. But thank you so much for when we were asked at 5FM to choose people that have really made an impact. I chose you first because you were the first lady of daytime radio 5FM and a person of color. And for me, coming in from Durban, a little city girl coming to Joburg, wanting to fit into 5FM, which was obviously a lot less colorful, you were like saving grace, somebody that I can like relate to, somebody I understand. Your journey at 5 has been absolutely phenomenal. See what you've done for affectionately known as Z Power. You really paved the way for many of us, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. First of all, thank you for having me and for choosing me to be your FEMMEnomenal person. And I think everything that you see in me actually exists in yourself. I think that whatever you think that I've done for you, I think that you've done for many other young girls out there too, because you also come from a small town and a local radio station. You were with Lotus, right?
Yeah.
And you came onto this national platform. So I'm just a mirror for you, girlfriend.
Oh,
whatever you see in me is in you.
Girl, this is like your psychology degree. Okay, so for those of you who didn't know why Z is even super special, see, you're in your 40s and you decided, like a crazy kid, to go back to school. Children don't do that. Why
I know.
go back to school?
I woke up one morning when I was 39 years old and I was like, I need more. I need something else. And I've always been appreciative of human behavior and the observation of human behavior. And I decided that I want to be a psychologist. And so I applied at one university, which was Wits University, and I got in. And I spent my 40th birthday in a lecture room. And I'm going to be 45 next year, and I've been studying for the last 5 years.
And we know that you're a professional student because now you don't want to stop.
I know. You know, it's so interesting because I didn't appreciate school. Yeah. I didn't appreciate learning. In fact, I detested school. I detested rules and regulations. Absolutely. And now, in my 40s, I feel like all I want to do is learn. Like I feel like I have this insatiable appetite for learning, especially when it comes to health and well-being, and especially when it comes to mental well-being. So I'm not the person that I was when I was bullying you.
Shame you weren't bullying me. Actually, the boys paid for a lot of that, like, show Sush more. I think the guys enjoy, but I understand exactly where. I think you were always present in your life. You were always somebody who understood your vision. I think you always knew what you wanted to be, and I think we all like gravitate to people like that. You've always had this in you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, if I think about myself as a young teenager, I always knew that I wanted to be in broadcasting, and now, as what's termed middle age, which is crazy because we live much longer.
Geriatric, darling.
Oh, really? Is that what we call it?
Geriatric.
In my middle age, I find that I also know now exactly what it is that I want to do. So it's it's a different field, but yet not so much. It's just, once again, just an appreciation of human behavior. And one thing that probably runs deep inside my blood, in my veins, is the fact that I love interacting with human beings. I mean, you can't be in media or broadcasting if you don't like the interaction of human beings. And so this is just, I guess, another step towards that. So I'm excited about it.
So like a small town girl from Brits coming to Joburg, what would you have said to the 16-year-old self now? Like your Zuraida back then, with your sister and your mom?
Oh, wow. You know, I can't even, so I grew up pretty much like you in a very small Indian community, sheltered community, lots of rules, lots of regulations, lots of you can't do this, you can't. In fact, there was more no's than there were yeses. But having said that, though, there is something very special and beautiful about community living, and that is that everyone's your auntie, everyone's your uncle. It takes a village to raise a child, and everyone takes care of you. So I do appreciate that about community living, and I'm really, really happy and grateful that I did have that upbringing. But coming to Johannesburg, which is obviously large in comparison to the little one-horse town, I don't ever recall being intimidated or scared. It was basically just a, thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pure transition of life. And so, yeah, I what can I say? I mean, I often think of myself as fearless. And if you were to ask me if I have fear, I would say very little, but I know that that's complete BS because we all have fear. But when I think about my younger self, I just think of myself as being fearless because I knew what I wanted. And that's the thing about knowing what you want. When you know what you want, you tend to be fearless because there's such an authenticity about that and a truth. So you just jump into it. And so, I don't think there's anything I would say to my younger self, to the 16-year-old Zuraida, that would be different. Otherwise I wouldn't be where I am right now. I had a brilliant work ethic. I had everything was as it should be,
or as it was meant to be. So you used a very an important trigger word, and something that I wrote down before I got here, and I said, if I were to describe you, and in one word, it's authentic, because you are still the same human being that I remember 15, 16 years ago.
One of the most beautiful and powerful things about being a woman, and I can only speak from the point of view of being a FEMMEnomenal woman, is that there is so much power in getting older. And you know, I try and say this to a lot of people who come to me. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a pure exaggeration, a lot, as if I'm inundated with people that are coming to me for advice. But when I do have people ask me for things or advice about getting older, or people saying things like, you look more rooted now than you ever did before, it's the fact that I really truly appreciate the privilege of time and getting older. Like so many people in our industry, I love how I still say our industry.
It is, you're still in our industry.
Is that they've passed. If you look at TK and Lebu and like all these phenomenal women that didn't really get to see the privilege of time, to complete their story, although they did leave a powerful mark, and that's why we can still mention them today because of that impact that they left, is that they didn't get to have this privilege of time. And so I think that I'm all of that you see right now, because I truly do embrace getting older. I said this the other day on Instagram, the coolest thing I did in my life was going to university at 40. It wasn't anything else. It was going to go and study at 40. And if I can empower any other person to feel that they can do anything at any time, then my job is done. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we live in a world with so much fear. There's always someone prettier than you. There's always someone skinnier. There's always someone smarter. And so what lies inside of you that is different to that person that you may be insecure about, and that is your age and your wisdom.
Correct, yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what's powerful for me.
I think over the years, obviously seeing you out of media, traveling to the States, going on this amazing adventure, becoming a mom, being in your marriage, and then of course, like catapulting yourself in the social media frame. I was like, Z just gets better, and you're the chameleon. You adapt all the time, and you're so good with your environment. But I think when you started to say you're going to go back to university, I was like, whoa, I have to watch this because I want to study again, but I feel like, I don't know if I've got it. And I was a great student.
Yeah.
I loved it. But I wondered now if my brain can still do it. And I was like, but there's so much going on. But you defied that and you said, I'm going to do it. And we silently watched you. And I think that what you've done, you have inspired and you've created this beautiful ripple effect. That education, there's no borders around it. You can study all the time, do a little mini course, things that inspire you. There's trigger words that are going around in social media, self-care, and recently your posts have been they've been very like you're taking a bit of an introverted look at yourself. I love what you've been doing, talking about mental health, and I think that's a big thing. Doesn't matter what age you are. We're so defined by, are we good enough? Are we relatable? Are we relevant? Those are heavy words for like teenagers to hear, like, you get in a group, you're out today, you're in tomorrow. Self-care and like really loving your soul. You've been sharing a lot of your personal mental journeys with people. What has that been like for you? Like, have you been through things that have like, I need a time out of life sometimes?
Well, I think I've been going through, I'm currently seeing an amazing psychologist, and I really love psychology and I love therapy, and I also wish that we could destigmatize the word therapy, as much as we say, oh, I'm going to go and have my brows done. We should be able to say, I'm going to go and see my therapist, because there's such beautiful wisdom and insight that comes into you allowing someone to unravel or come back home to yourself. And I would say for the last probably year in particular, I've gone through very deep self-reflection with myself and my upbringing and my past and my journey. And it's been, I think that's what you've seen in my, if it's a transition or a difference that you've seen in my social media, is that's just where I am at the moment. And you mentioned the word mental health. For me, what's so important now more than ever is that we really, really do begin to destigmatize mental health. And coming from a community of color, we're not taught to talk about our feelings. We're not taught to, or encouraged rather, to speak about not feeling okay. And I really think it's time that we are able to say things like, you know what, Mr. Smith, I can't come into work today because I'm depressed.
Yes.
Or you know what, Mrs. Goldsmith, I'm really low today and my anxiety levels are completely through the roof. We're able to say that when we have food poisoning. We're able to say that when we have a cold, but we're not able to say that when we're not mentally healthy. And why? People are committing suicide left, right, and center. People are going to institutions because they just don't feel heard. And I think the more that we encourage people to know that it's okay not to be okay, the more our world will begin to unravel in a very beautiful, authentic kind of way.
I think we're afraid to be so honest with ourselves because that means we lay ourselves naked and bare, and that someone is going to come out and judge me. Like, oh, you're not allowed to be sad. So in my particular family, this year has been so difficult because a very close family member is going through this and hospitalized, and I was like, whoa. And maybe it's the years of being away from home, can say, oh no, she's got depression, she's depressed. And they're like, oh, you can't say that, but actually you must. Because the more that person understands, they don't have an illness, but in a way it is an illness. It is killing them inside. And we have to recognize that it is as serious as anybody going for a 6-week operation. You need to understand what that person is going through. It's not a quick fix. Ah, babe, don't worry, you'll be fine. Women should stop saying that to each other. Babe, you're going through a divorce. Ah, babe, don't worry, give it 2 weeks, you'll be fine. If you've lost a child, you didn't lose, your child didn't get lost. You're grieving like that person not being around. We need to start saying and being honest about these words. And the more that our kids are growing up in a very anxious society.
Yeah.
We can't like mollycoddle them. We need to explain this is what is going on. If you're feeling sad or depressed or you're living in angst, talk to us. You need to tell us. I don't want to hear and watch it in the series 13 Reasons Why, and then I'm like, oh wow, this is what, but this is the world that we're going through, and I want to applaud you because it's those honest reflections from that you have said that have destigmatized it for other women to come out. Now, also the other thing is Women's Month.
Yeah.
We always have, I love Women's Month for so many reasons because we get to share what we're going through, but there are going to be a lot of women who are going to use this platform and say, oh, it's about self-care, love yourself. But you also going to be careful. How do you love yourself? How do you, be open about loving yourself? There are women who are going to give us great advice. Do this in your marriage. And I don't think it's about, everyone has their own personal journey. What is your personal advice? What does your personal journey entail in this whole Women's Month? Where do you stand on the platform?
So, as a mother to a son, I have to be honest with you. So I bring my kids up in a non-gender-based home. So I encourage my kids not to say this is a boy thing, this is a girl thing. I encourage my son to respect my daughter and women just as much as I encourage my daughter to respect men. And I think that sometimes when we have things like a Women's Month, with all due respect, we almost alienate males. And I think that in order for us to get to some stage of true equality is to just be embracing of everyone. So my story is simply that I'm constantly in navigation. I often get people saying to me, what is your secret to balance? Like, there's no balance in my life. Every day is a freaking struggle. Do you know what I'm saying? Zuraida, you and Josh have been together for nearly 20 years. What's the secret to your marriage? We've been divorced a million times in the last 20 years. You guys just don't know about it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like there is no perfection. Seriously, I don't have a formula. I don't have a prescription. I don't have a recipe. I just have simply every day, take each day as it comes, and be respectful and be kind. And that's all. I'm still navigating that. Every day is different because every day I'm in a different mood. Every day the people around me are in different moods. So it's just a constant state of being in progress. Yes, that's what it is. I am in progress. It really is as simple as that. I don't have the perfect answer. I'm just, to be honest with you, I feel like things were simpler living in that, closed-minded community than it is right now. I feel like our world and I feel like our country is living in so much pain at the moment, and rightfully so when we take note of our past. I sometimes, the hippie in me just wants everyone to love each other and to be kind, because there is a big hippie that swims inside of me, and that's really all I want. And so I try to be that in my small little way with just my son and my daughter, and hoping that will have a ripple impact in how they go about and they treat their friends. But I think, going back to what you said about social media and how we depict ourselves, I also think that it's so important that we be real on social media, because social media is a highlight reel of everyone's life. Like, we're not seeing people's pain.
No, we're not.
We're seeing, the selfie that you've seen. There were 57 other selfies that were taken before that one selfie was posted. And so it's important that we bear that in mind every time we look at a post. It's like, what is happening psychologically behind this post? Someone that's posting all the time, like 16 posts a day, that's telling us something psychologically. Someone that's posting themselves only with makeup on all the time, that's telling us something psychologically. Someone that's posting only happiness, there's a message behind everything. And I think it's important that we look at the layers behind social media posts.
Like I always say, it doesn't matter. You don't have to post everything about your life. So you can also be very careful and choose, like, I'm that person. I'm very protective of my family. I'm protective of my privacy. And if I want to do something, and I also don't feel pressurized and bullied. However, your average teenage young girl getting into this world is seeing another woman prosper, is seeing this girl in the most beautiful clothes, is seeing this gorgeous entrepreneur, oh wow, YouTube sensation, makeup blogger, I'm a superstar, and they're grappling. Young girls are grappling today, and I think the landscape has changed so much. What we probably struggled about when we were teenagers, I mean, I was struggling about fighting with my brothers to get like access to the Nintendo, you know. I remember playing outside, marbles and soccer, and being and enjoying the environment.
Exactly.
And now I see I have a little one that's now working out. Mom, is my Insta and my YouTube account, who are we following? What does Jojo see? Like our landscape's completely changed. But I've always maintained that you're like the celestial being, but you're having a human experience.
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
beautiful.
Yeah,
I love
so
that.
you're not
Make me cry.
So whenever I see these things, I'm like, oh, that's so inspiring. How would you help navigate your daughter now in like 2019? What are the little guides and little cones and pointers are you giving her?
I'm struggling, Sureshnie. I mean, it's not, parenting is by far the hardest job I've done and will do. And it's particularly more challenging with girls. I don't know. I just think that we're very complex beings. We compare ourselves a lot to other girls or women. There's an innate jealousy or envy inside of us that resides inside of us. So what do I do with her? My gosh, it's so hard because I'm trying not to live vicariously through her. I'm also trying not to give her the upbringing that I had because it's a completely different time. Gosh, it's a challenge. And we were chatting earlier. It's like the kids today are part of an instant generation. They want things like today. Like my daughter, for example, is obsessed with a girl called Sophie Darcy, who is a contortionist. And she wants to be a contortionist yesterday. And I have to say to her,
sorry, she wants to like contour.
Like that's my daughter's dream. Thank goodness she doesn't want to be Kim Kardashian. She wants to be a contortionist. So I think I'm doing something right for now. For now, exactly. For now. But she doesn't realize that you've got to train and that you've got to warm up. Like she wants to be able to do these contortion moves, like within nano. Exactly. She calls it a bagel. She wants to be able to do bagel moves within seconds, and so she doesn't quite understand that the picture that she's seen of Sophie Darcy has taken Sophie Darcy months and years of practice to get there. But she just sees the picture and wants to do it immediately. So it's a challenge.
It's the pitfalls of our generation that's currently happening. I call them the microwave generation.
Yeah.
Pop it in, gratified, done. Mom, I'm famous.
Yeah.
But it's the hard work that gets lost along the way and the lessons. And I always feel like I don't want my kid to learn the harsh lessons, but I somehow feel I'm sounding like my mom. You need to get burnt and then learn like not to do it again, you know?
Isn't that amazing how your mother somehow starts to come out of your mouth when you least expect it? And I think, there's also, you and I'm sure have witnessed this, there's such a fundamental difference to the time when we started off in media, which was 20 some odd years ago, to, with all due respect, the youngins that are in media right now. It's taking them months to become who they are.
True, yeah.
Whereas, like I find if I speak about just my own journey personally, there was a ladder that I had to climb. Like I was constantly auditioning. I was constantly being turned down. There was a lot that I had to learn. Like you couldn't be as Insta famous as you can today. Like you can literally get publicity so quickly today if you do the right thing or become infamous in the wrong way, whatever the case is. It's a different time, and sometimes I grapple with that. Like I look at some people, or I look at my daughter and I go, you don't even know what hard work is, Yeah.
I always think also like they need to learn those kind of like lessons in life. They need to get
But
a bit of a
do they,
bruising.
Sush?
They don't, because we're very sensitive in our generation, and we mollycoddle, and we're helicopter parents. Because I don't want my kid to get hurt, but at the same time, I feel like I'm lacking in teaching her the right way. And I'm like, I need to let you go. I need you to experience this and understand how tough it is, that we didn't just land these jobs. We've had to like really, really work for it. And I think also it'll give us longevity in the industry. When young women are coming into now, they promise this amazing picture. They see the end picture. They forget there was a frame. They forget there was a canvas and there was an artist and the vision. So the vision for them is just like, oh wow, it's amazing. I'll buy it, done, sold, babe. It's now trending. And I think that's what we're gonna have to fix, because our kids and the kids coming up now are gonna look up to these young women and say, what have you done? Can you teach me your ways? And what are the ways? There aren't a lot of like little guidelines, and they can't write books about this.
I think it's just, being true to yourself, and you use the word longevity. It's one of the things that I loved about my stay when Josh and I moved to America was that living in Los Angeles really taught me, and I witnessed how people would go on to do what they wanted to do at any age. Because that's the thing about Los Angeles. For example, if you decide that you want to be a contortionist at the age of 45, there's a class of other contortionists in there at 45, 50, 60, 70 that are trying to do that. There's like no limits to life or no limits to what you want to do. And so when we look at longevity, it's about how long can you sustain your authenticity. And it doesn't mean that you've got to stay in the same industry. Or if you do stay in the same industry, are you evolving? Do you know what I'm saying? That's the thing. And what is evolvement even? Something like that is just so personal. It's like, do you have this innate desire to learn more? And that's what I loved about Los Angeles. Like, often you see these American actors being triple threats. Why are they triple threats? Because they're constantly extending their craft. And I find that sometimes we don't do that enough here in South Africa. We decide, you're a radio DJ, so that's all you're going to do for the rest of your life.
And it's not that at all. You can do so much more.
Absolutely. Go and learn to play a musical instrument. Go and study. Just extend yourself. And my big thing for myself at the moment, and I hope that all I can do is, be what Mahatma Gandhi says, is be the change you want to see, be that example, is that all I hope is that I'm an example for my children. So I don't have to tell them what to do, because I grew up in a family or with parenting. It's like, you will do this and you won't do that. For me, we can't do that with our kids today. We can't scream at them, because they'll be like, why are you screaming at me? Or don't tell me not to scream when you scream at me. They're just different souls.
Or mom, you're body shaming me, or you're fat shaming me, or like, I'm like, I promise Parvani, I'm not. I'm just saying, 4 slices of pizza after you've just eaten 2 burgers, that's a bit of a problem, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but then I can't. Then
they're an absolute different generation, so you have to be the example. You can only lead by example, and hopefully that at some point the seeds that you've planted will grow. And then, talking about, you were talking about you don't want to protect your kids too much, but you also love and care for them. One of my favorite writings is by Khalil Gibran.
Oh yes,
your
children are ours.
They come through us, but they're not from us. You've got to let them go at some point. So you do the best that you can do with awareness and consciousness, and then you've got to trust that it's all going to unfold.
And you also hope that the seeds that you plant, they take flight. And I always say, like with me, my foundation is kindness. And I always say, please be kind. So it's like we're handing out, I say that we're praising mediocrity. And people are handing out stickers, like in a normal classroom situation. Oh, Johnny, you picked up the litter. Here's a gold sticker for you. And then the kids are just getting these kind of gratifications by like, but is it really important? Whereas we should be pushing education, get your academics right, try and like be better at sport and be good to each other. I think that's far more important than giving them an award just because maybe they picked a flower. I'm like, no. It should be something you do standard.
You do anyway, right? But that kind of thing, hopefully comes from parenting and the home.
Conscious parenting.
Yeah, and then also, when your kids, for example, when your kids draw something, and they come to you, like I'm sure you have this as well. I have like 1,000,001 drawings at home, paintings. I saw this little meme that said, you dread the day when your child asks you where's all their other drawings, because you've thrown 3/4 of it away.
So lovely.
But instead of saying, oh, my love, this is beautiful, rather say, tell me about your picture. Do you know what I'm saying? Instead of like saying to your child, oh, this is so lovely, mommy's proud of you, rather encourage that communication. Tell me about your picture. Why did you make her head so big and his hand so small? Like, so then you encourage dialogue, you encourage critical thinking. It's those little things, the little things.
And those communication tools, unfortunately, are going away because we're doing this. Hi, how was your day? Yeah, it was good. How was yours? And that's what I'm worried. Like, first of all, we're going to damage our vertebra. That's the first thing for me.
Exactly.
And I just think that as we get older and as the years are going to get on us, I'm going to miss out. She's not going to know what my eyes look like when I'm sad,
Yeah.
or how my pupils change when I'm anxious about something,
Yeah.
or can you read my face? Do you know, like, I think that
Yeah.
that beautiful touch, the feeling, that the power of touch, oh, that power of touch is healing. Like, my parents
Yeah.
always, when you had a bad day, come, mom will massage your head or your
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
And when I'd go help my mom massage her head, what happened today? Or why are you upset? And I just want to go, I want to return to that
Yeah.
feeling of like, let's engage, like, together.
Absolutely, and it's those little things where time was spent. You're talking about massage your head, like, you know, in a community, and an Indian community, like putting oil on your child's hair is a big thing, and that's
So therapeutic.
yeah, and like you're actually spending quality time with your daughter or your
Yeah.
son, massaging the amla oil into their hair.
Coconut oil, people, very good.
These are little things
Yeah.
that we took for granted back then, but they were one-on-one time with your parent at the time, which is so beautiful that we've
Yeah.
almost neglected or forgotten about. But it was precious moments between a parent and a child, which is something that we've got to try and instill in our little ways.
I have such a strong core memory of my mom, and my mom used to have long nails, and my dad hated these long nails. He's like, because the one time she may have scratched me by mistake, and I think as a child, it must have been about, I think I was at 7. I remember being in the bathtub and she mistakenly scratched.
You said she may have
Okay, she
scratched
did.
your mind.
Okay, but I felt
Was
bad.
it on purpose?
No, she was like helping me in the tub, and I remember going to cry. Oh, Dad, Mommy scratched me, and my mom. I'll never forget my dad. I'll never forget my mom. She was proud of these nails, and that's the only thing that she loved.
Yeah.
And he made her clip these nails, and I felt so guilty that I.
Girls are manipulative.
We're not. I think.
I see my daughter does that with my
I
husband
know.
all the time.
And then
She's-
and so I remembered like apologizing. Mom, your nails are very pretty. Yeah, but I hurt you. I'm like, I know you didn't mean to, but maybe I overreacted. But I remember that feeling of my mom, her nail, the sound.
Yeah.
And now that she's older, and I remember having a bit of a stress then, and I actually, like, I kind of went there. I said, won't you just help me with my hair? Meanwhile, I just wanted that touch, and
Yeah.
I do the same thing now. And
That's beautiful.
And I said to her,
And
how
you're creating
important.
such a beautiful
Yeah.
memory. I mean, look at you. You're now, you know, are you? Yes, you are in your 40s. Yes, and you're recalling this beautiful memory from back in the day. But you're doing the same thing with your daughter,
And it's
which
like,
is something so powerful.
And I think we need to activate that, and our minds must be
Yeah.
conscious, you know? Like, I want to take her back to how we grew up, or how the things that mattered to me as a teenager. I found diaries, and I loved writing. I always wanted to be a writer. That's why I ended up in journalism. So did you. You're
Yes,
you're
yes.
a journalism graduate.
Yes.
And she asked me, Mom, what did you always want to be? And I said to her, don't laugh. But I really was a feminist, and I wanted to join the suffragette movement. And I thought I was going to, my mom and dad was like, can you cook a biryani?
Exactly.
You're never going to get married. But I remember, like, what my parents always said to me, whatever you do, hopefully you get married and some nice boy will marry you. Wow. But they just said to me, just be safe and just be happy. And
Yeah.
I want the same for my kid now. I don't care if she can't do the biryani. I can't cook to save my life, but I make a plan. I adapt and I learn. I just wanted to, like, be conscious of who she is and what
Yeah.
her role is on this planet,
Yeah.
and that she has a role, and that in
Yeah.
her life she must give back, and she must be able to, like, gather information
Yeah.
and help fellow man. That's what I want.
Yeah, you know, we want our kids to find out what's their purpose, as we want to find out what our purpose is. And you know, you don't necessarily have to find that out at any particular age, but hopefully the journey of life is to find out what's your purpose, and then to live that purpose. And hopefully that purpose involves giving back to community. You know, I saw something so interesting also once again on social media the other day, and it was this little baby that was looking up at his parents, and he saw his mom's face and his dad's face with a phone in front of it. So you actually don't get to see your parents' eyes and facial, like their nose and their mouth, but you've seen this phone in front of them because they've constantly got a phone in your face. And that's so dangerous. Like I can see that on social media quite often, where parents basically spend their entire day Insta-storing their kids' lives, which means that when your child is looking at you, they're seeing this phone as your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that's pretty dangerous. Talking about what are the things that we need to be doing right, I think we need to go back to the senses. You know, the sound, the touch, the taste. When you're interacting more with senses, that's what your mother gave you, for example, then I think you're doing something right. But when you've got a phone in front of your child's face, And I see how we want to record every moment because it's so easy to do that. And I, for example, come from a family that didn't take any pictures. So at one stage I found myself, you know, incessantly taking pictures of my kids. But then I also realized that I needed to be present. And now one of the things that I do, for example, is when I go to my child's concert, I tend to put my phone away, because often then what happens is you'll end up recording the concert and you're looking through the lens, and you're not actually looking at your child's face, but you're looking at your child's face via another lens. And I realized this about a year ago, and so now I find myself trying to be present at sporting events or at concerts, or not constantly holding the phone up, because what's most important, how often do we go back to those memories? We don't really go, I mean on your phone. We don't often go back to it because life is so busy. So rather just be present at that very moment and keep it inside this database. You know,
I get called out, and I think I'm really proud of my kid. I really am, because yes, she can drive me insane, but she always calls me out. Especially, like, she likes going to safaris.
Yeah,
that is her thing. The kid wants to be a ranger, and she wants to save all the animals.
That's
I asked
beautiful.
her, "What is your spirit animal?" I'm a foxicorn. She actually asked me. We went to do passports, Mom. At what age can I change my name? I'm like, what's wrong with Parvani Milan? It's like, no, it's great, but I want to be called Fox. And I was like, oh, I don't think they allow that. No, there are rules. I'm allowed to have a change at any point. I'm like, because Mom, I feel I need to be out there living my life, like be free. I want to be with the animals. She's got such a beautiful connection to the earth.
Beautiful.
But she always calls me out, Mom, if you put the phone away, you can see it with your own eyes. And she's always doing it. And I always think, Pop, it's not about this. And now,
doesn't that make you feel guilty?
I feel so. She mom guilts me, and it's great that she does it.
But
she does
you
it
know
for the
why
right-
she mom
the
guilts
right-
you? Because you taught her that.
Yeah,
So that's a powerful moment, right? Because she has recognized that because you taught her that. You have taught her to be present. That's why she's calling you out. So it's actually you're on the right track.
I think I'm going to survive parenting.
I think you are.
I've managed to keep her alive for so many years. I think we're good.
Without her breaking.
Oh my word! I think that's my greatest fear. But I think we all do it. For women, I always talk about how I describe other women, because a lot of women want to get into the industry. Z, you were that light for many of us, because we're like, Z, Zuraida got a gig on 5FM, whoa. And we all wanted to like follow your suit. When you got from weekends from 2 to 5 and you moved to like 10 to PM to 1, and then you got the 9 to 12 gig. And I remember you saying, I'm the first woman of color to be on daytime at 5FM. And there was that massive.
No, I was the first woman, period. Not even of color.
Really? What?
5FM had never had a female in a weekday show before. I mean, isn't that disgusting? I'm sorry, not to 5FM, but just to radio. Like, I mean, like, how dare you? Like, what are we not
They don't
equipped
trust
enough?
us with the buttons, people.
I mean, it's crazy to think about
and
it.
now, Thando Tabere on 5FM,
Yeah.
first female drive time host. Like, we've got such strong females across the board
Yeah.
and doing everything. And the way I see it, a studio is just a studio. It's a mechanical setup.
Yeah.
It doesn't change and become pink and glitzy and unicorn when I arrive. The boys and girls run the and I think that's that's the game changer.
Yeah.
In your mind, when you want to get into radio, don't box yourself and don't put hurdles before you run the race. Don't say, oh, because I'm a girl, they're going to give me a 9 to 12 slot because that's the audience I speak. No, you're not. You're speaking across, and I think that's where you need to think out the box. But a lot of people or society say women are very difficult with each other. We're almost like crabs in a box. Put the crabs in the box, the one crab wants to climb out and the other wants to pull it down. It's that we are qualifying in PhDs, pull her down syndrome. Not anything else.
Player haters degree.
Player haters degree. Do you find now that you are in this space? Like, you're a varsity student. What is it like for you in your 40s, been through all of this, super successful, top of your game, now going back to see what the 20-year-olds are doing or how they're thinking?
Yeah.
Do you think we're beating this PhD, that pull her down syndrome?
You know, Sureshnie, I don't know if it's something that's intentional or something that's just naturally ingrained in me that I'm born with, that's part of my temperament and personality, but I've never really been one of those women. Like I remember at 5FM, even when I was at Good Hope FM, but when I was at 5FM and it was myself and Nicole Fox, I remember Heat magazine would write crap about us that actually didn't exist in real life.
Very divisive.
Yeah, like trying to divide, but yet they wouldn't do that between Mark Gilman and Sasha. You know, so I didn't really get involved in that. it was, it's a funny thing, I got into broadcasting because I love broadcasting. I don't know if opportunist is the right word, but so I didn't want to get the drive time show.
Yeah.
I didn't have that kind of drive, excuse the pun. It's not going to be rare for a woman to do a drive time show or for a woman to host a show. I mean, the fact that we sometimes still have a host and a co-host, and the co-host is always female. Like, I'm sorry, but what the F?
We're good crutches.
What are we, 1960, that the co-host is always female? Why can't the co-host be male?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I think now in 2019, 2020, I just think it's completely different. I think it's non-negotiable. It's going to be equal.
Yeah.
It's going to be equality.
And it's actually translating in real life. We grew up with the phenomena of Barbie dolls. Was never my favorite initially. I mean, I was more tomboyish, but I always had one, always like, oh, she's so beautiful. Now Barbie's slogan is, you can be anything. And I love that, because the dolls that you see now my little one's engaging with, like, oh, that's pretty cool. There's a vet, there's someone that I want to be. There's an astronaut, there's a scientist. And I think we need to promote more of that for our kids, and saying also, you don't have to play with this stuff. And it can be for boys too. I never have this thing about, you must only wear pink because you're a girl, or you must only do this, or, boys. My mom, unfortunately, in the way that they were raised, which I know is a historical, traditional, cultural thing, and I know she would have changed it. My mom was very ambitious and very like, everybody's equal in this house, but she'll always like, girls must do this job, and you have to do certain duties, and I respect, but I knew that when I became a parent or I became a woman, I wasn't going to let that happen to my kid. And my child will learn to do every bit of chore, whether it's taking out the trash. My brothers didn't have to do. Why did they have to do it? Why couldn't I offer? And now we're finding more independent women-headed households, single women-headed households. We also don't need to be in a relationship to have a kid. And we're finding ourselves, like you said, we're becoming very powerful and very strong. But we're also not losing our femininity. That real essence of what makes us who we are. That beautiful inside, that warmth, that generosity, that lives within it. I like to always tap into that. There is such beauty in that. We celebrate it.
Absolutely. Sureshnie, I mean, a woman truly is special. And I'm not saying this because I'm female, but men are birthed from women. So, you can't have a boy unless you have a girl. So, and yes, there'll be the argument, well, you can't have a child unless you have a male and a female, but it's the mother's body that incubates that baby. It's the FEMMEnomenal woman who incubates that baby. So women truly are a special species. They honestly are. We are living in such a powerful time right now, and as much as it's scary for you and I, because we've made the transition from analog to digital, from the 70s and 80s into what we have right now, which is the complete technical, digital, instant gratification age. It's also so exciting to be female. I don't know if you know this, but the Victoria's Secret show has just been cancelled. And that's because women are saying no, because of the Me Too campaign, you're not going to objectify us anymore. And so what's beautiful about the time that we're living in right now is this one word called accountability. So if you're racist, you're going to be held accountable. If you're sexist, you're going to be held accountable. If you're ageist, you're going to be held accountable. So it's a wonderful time to be alive, and it's also a wonderful time to be female. And I also see, or rather I read a couple of days ago, that the Miss South Africa campaign has a female or
plus size and a woman that has vitiligo, and I've never seen a contestant.
Amazing.
And also girls with short hair. We have this image about like, oh, our pageant winners need to have tresses of beautiful long hair. Miss Jamaica last year had the most beautiful crown of an afro, and she walked it like nobody's business. We had a transgender contestant from Spain, and she is transgender, out transgender, and fully publicly knows this is what I'm doing. But women like that representing us on a stage, I was like, we need more of this. We need to stop putting us in boxes and saying, here's a nice pretty little label, you are going to be this, and you're going to be, because I think Z, had you had that, you wouldn't have been Zuraida Z Power. And I'm so glad that you broke that stereotype to start off with,
Thank you. Well, we both did, actually. Both you and I did that, so it's not only me, and thank you for that. You asked me about the girls at university. That's exactly what they are, and that's also what universities are encouraging today when it comes to selections, when it comes to people that they're choosing diversity. And diversity does not mean black or Indian or colored. It means what is it about you that makes you different? You transgender, we want you because we have to be at a place where everyone is fully accepted. Because if we don't fully accept everyone as they are, then mental illness is just going to become more and more and more prevalent, and we're never going to break that. So I am actually quite happy right now at where we are, and I think that we are living in the most exciting time, you and I.
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah. And I think what you started off doing with going back to school proves to many women who might think that they can only go as far as matric, you get a degree, you need to get married and follow this and have kids or whatever. I think you have broken that stereotype and tells us our minds actually have the ability to learn. And it doesn't mean when you reach 40 or 50 that your brain switches off.
Yeah.
Older people are leaving the work market, but there's also that means that they can take their skills and impart it and still teach.
Yeah.
So you still have the ability to learn, you still have the interest to want to learn, and you're still a conscious citizen.
And Sureshnie, I always say this, life can be short, but life can also be long. And if your life is long, it's paramount that you do what you want to do during that time. We're living much longer now than we ever did before. If we eat correctly, we exercise, we can live really, really long lives. And what does that mean? That means that you don't have to have one career for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
If you decide in 10 years' time, in 5 years' time, or in 1 month's time that you want to change your career and you want to become a chef, you should feel the inner workings and self-esteem to be able to make that change without fear. And so it takes people to actually do that, to give other people permission to know that they can do it too. And so going back to that word authentic, just live your life authentically, and that means do you.
Yeah. It's the best person you know how to be anyway. When people go, who do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, I just want to be me.
Yeah.
Because right now, that's the person I understand.
Yeah.
That's the person I want to grow.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to aspire, and you can emulate. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
But always essentially be authentically yourself.
And you'll know inside of you what feels good or what is good, because what is good will feel good.
Yeah.
And so for me right now, being this student with an insatiable appetite to learn is what feels good.
So what is your plan? I don't want to say,
my
because you
plan?
also mustn't say, what's your future plan?
Yeah.
Where are you right now? Where do you
Sureshnie,
find
I
yourself?
really, mental health and well-being really is my passion at the moment. And that's the journey that I'm on. I'd love to practice in that field in some time to come. And broadcasting is going to run through my veins for the rest of my life. It's something that if it's in you, it's in you. But mental health and well-being is what I'm passionate about at the moment.
And if I caught up with you in 5 years' time, where do you think I'm going to find you?
Where are you going to find me?
Where should I find you?
In 5 years' time? Well, hopefully, I'd love to have my own practice in the mental health and well-being field. I'm very interested in neuropsychology as well. I'm interested in how our gut impacts our brain, how the brain impacts the gut. I'm interested in how we can heal ourselves through nutrition by what we eat. I'm interested in creating a strong force around me, especially with females who are innately so insecure, to make them feel that they are okay. So there's a lot that I want to do, and I hope that in 5 years' time, when we meet up again, that I will have funneled all of this into a path. But for the moment, it's just there's a lot that's swimming, and it's in the field of mental health and well-being. Yeah.
So, like, if you had you could change your biography beneath your name on Instagram, and if you stood for something, what would it say? Some people go, wanderlust, always always dream. What would yours be?
So mine has been. How long has Instagram been around?
Maybe about 7 years.
7 years?
Maybe
8 years?
less. Yeah, I think less.
So I've had the same profile picture on Instagram for the
Have
last
you?
7 years.
I need to find this.
I've had the same profile picture on for 7 years, and I've had the same biog on for 7 years, which is I'm a child of the universe navigating my way. And that's what it will remain.
That is right. True story. There she is, child. And
Child
then
of the
CJ. Yeah.
So
But can you add like my one, celestial being having a human experience?
Celestial being having a human experience, okay. With inverted commas, credit Sureshnie
Sureshnie
Rider.
Rider.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 5 years we can like regroup. If you were to impart us with anything that you think that the girl of today, the woman of today, who's trying to find herself, trying to find her voice, trying to navigate who she is in this universe, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to just feel it. You know, I know it sounds like ethereal and esoteric and airy-fairy and hippie, but just feel yourself. Yeah. Feel yourself, you know. Like we're so distracted with so many other senses that we're forgetting to just feel. And when you feel, you'll get to your gut. And when you get to your gut, you get to your intuition. And when you get to your intuition, you get to your magic. And when you get to your magic, you get to flow.
Oh,
so
girl.
Feel it.
Hashtag enough said.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal,
Thank you,
my girl.